Peter Navarro, sentenced to 4 months in jail for contempt of Congress. Hallelujah. All right, here we go. Oh, by the way, there's protesters out there. They've been dicking around with him this entire time, and apparently, they just blow whistles and shit and fuck with him. It's hilarious.
Constitutional issue. We've always understood that this case was going to have to be resolved at the D.C. Circuit. We've already noted.
No, you just recognized your client's guilty.
Our appeal, and we look forward to the opportunity to talk to the D.C. Circuit.
Yes, I'm sure you do. And I'm sure Peter Navarro does, because nobody wants to... nothing's better than really fighting in court and losing. Just so you could go try it again in front of people who go, okay, you were already found guilty. The fuck is... what's your point?
Look, I'd be happy to talk to some of the print media inside so that we're not harassed by these folks here.
Yeah, so, okay, there's a person with a cowbell. What cowbell? It's fantastic listening to this, the one thing I've always said about a Peter Navarro, press conference, is it needs more cowbell. Fantastic, He puts on his prison suit just like everyone else, but, and somebody's blowing a whistle. I thought there was actually a police siren that just went off magically at the same time, but they just got all kinds of sound effects because they're totally in fuck this guy mode.
But again,
fantastic. It's great. Who doesn't like cowbell? You go to hell too. You go to hell too.
The important issue here is the central constitutional issue about the separation of powers and the integrity of President
of Mike Flynn getting found guilty of this of basically similar shit, and it didn't save his ass, and he was the fucking he was a general. Trump had to pardon him.
Decision making, and I have been caught in a battle between two competing branches of government, and this is.
I feel like I should just add to this. What difference does it make? He's not going to say anything worth hearing anyways.
This is, we're about halfway to resolving this case. So I appreciate this. I'm sorry for the video cameras that you can't get clean sound because of.
Also, by the way, the people recording him are getting clean sound anyways. And guess what, asshole? We know you want to do this all for video press, for assholes like Steve Bannon to make you a victim and all this shit, or people like me to make fun of you and therefore give you a little bit of a leg up in visibility and plead poverty and pity in front of fucking people. However, the print media is there. That's that lady with that phone right there. Most of the people who have mics out here are not from the networks. They don't give a shit. They've moved on. But the follow-up stories, the news actually is coming up with this. They do want to hear your take and all this stuff, and they can hear just fine. They'll be able. They won't. Nobody typing this up will have in between all the words, and even if they did, you'd still be able to read them.
But this is what has happened to this country.
No, it's what's happening to you, dummy. None of us are getting fucking whistles and cowbells played whenever we're trying to talk everywhere. This is isolated to you, dumb fuck. You don't think you're the country, do you? Of course you do. You worked with Donald Trump.
And it's unfortunate that they won't respect my First Amendment rights here.
Okay. Yes, they will. That's their First Amendment up against yours. We can hear your words. We can hear your argument. It doesn't matter that they're fucking whistles. The freedom of speech is not freedom to promote or speak without interruption. If you want, here's a good idea. File a lawsuit about a violation of your freedom of speech rights because someone behind you was blowing a whistle while you were talking while other people could hear every fucking word that came out of your mouth. And then you can lose even more money in court.
Defendpeter.com, please put that out on your stations.
Why?
And
by the way, defendpeter.com, I gotta say, that sounds like an anti-OnlyFans site. It's like, isn't that a pro-masturbation site that attacks the Catholic Church? Sorry.
I'll walk in.
Navarro, can we give it a shot?
Do what?
Try to ask a question.
Not really, because
yeah, like there it is. There it is. My freedom of speech to not my freedom of speech to not answer your questions. Listen to this dickhead.
Navarro, can we give it a shot?
Do what?
Try to ask a question.
Not really, because
we're all here, and
well, the problem is. Oh, it is picking up fine?
Yes, the microphones are picking you up fine. We can tell the difference between your speaking voice and the fucking whistle. Is it annoying? Yes. Can you not use it for some sort of like ad campaign? Perhaps. Maybe that's it. Maybe the idea that like they're violating your right to create some sort of like legal defense fund ad to run on your site without having to dub what you fucking said later, which you can do on an iPhone now, so fuck off. But the press that's there understands every word you could say. And by the way, if you've been through a court case like this, dude, you can recite your argument at this rate to the point where you've been sentenced to 4 months. You can recite your argument while a jet is landing on an aircraft carrier behind you, dragging tin cans.
All right, I'm going to let my colleagues.
This is not the little
my colleagues.
Wait. In between the line of, I'm going to introduce my colleague, I suppose the conductor from Silver Streak has decided to chime in with, if I heard this correctly, this is not the Little Dick Playground. Now, I don't know where they're located in DC, and I don't know if that's the official name of that square, but let's hear it again.
I'm going to let my colleagues.
This is not the little
my colleagues.
Yep, that was exactly, that was the quote. Hey, this is not the Little Dick Playground. Well, all right, good, okay. Well, at least that helps us zone in on where we are specifically. Excuse me, sir, since you seem to be an expert, where precisely is the Little Dick Playground? Because I gotta say, it sounds like something Lindsey Graham would be interested. I'm sorry. Hey. This is not the Little Dick Playground. That is not a sentence I thought I'd hear today. I know some of you are like, I'm surprised it's not something you said, Hal. That's like something you throw in for the fuck around. But nope. Man on the street. And that's, folks, that's what freedom of speech is all about. That's the that's the true meaning. That's what the founding fathers had in mind.
You look nervous, Peter.
Is there a reason you don't want to answer any questions? We can hear you just fine.
4 months, bro.
All right, so, yes, sir.
The question we have is,
Sure.
It speaks for itself. Are you expecting or hoping for a pardon from Donald Trump in 2025?
No, I'm not expecting or hoping for that. That's not an issue. I do believe President Trump will win the White House in 2025.
But he's going to leave you hanging because I know why. Because you're going to wait in line behind all the Jan Sixers.
What's important to me, sir, and it's always been important to me.
Yes, the most important thing is that Bessie get some hay as soon as possible.
Is the underlying constitutional issue associated with that. I would say that my standing up on this matter, we've already achieved an important victory. the Department of Justice attorneys, after pressure
She's just not fucking around. She's just letting that fucking whistle blow.
from not just from my defense team, but also from the judge himself, finally acknowledged that senior presidential advisors, such as myself, cannot be compelled to testify.
Yes, they can. They can. He didn't exert executive privilege, dumb fuck. It would be super easy. It would be super fucking easy. When all this shit went down, the president should have, he could have, and even in post-presidency, he could have made the case. You know, I believe we were talking in confidence. I'm invoking executive privilege on, you know, my time in office over that. Of course, that's a possibility. Trump didn't. He could have, but he just decided not to. He decided, fuck you.
They've acknowledged that they would not prosecute in that case. So there's very much a constitutional disconnect here.
No, there isn't. The separation of powers does not mean that the Congress has control over the White House or the White House has control over Congress, or that nobody talks to anybody and nobody, you know, the responsibility of their actions is singular to their own. Like, the fuck out of here. This would be the argument, I guess, for why, like, the Congress and the White House can't do anything about Clarence Thomas. Get the shit.
So the important mission here is to settle good law in an area.
Good law. Good law. Hey. This is not the Little Dick Playground,
Where there is nothing now but mostly a vacuum. Remember, please.
There's nothing now but mostly a vacuum. Okay, the bell and the whistle are definitely getting to him. That made no sense.
I am the first person ever charged with this crime in the history.
Yeah, because everybody else testified, you dumb motherfucker. Everybody else recognized it was a reasonable threat and went before Congress. Or the president that they served with invoked executive privilege for them, so they didn't have to. Fuck off. Jesus Christ. Yes, you're the only person dumb enough to fight this fight. You can, and again, you can go down there and go, I honestly believe that you can testify and say, I honestly believe this falls under executive privilege. I do not feel comfortable talking about this, and I'm going to assume executive privilege and just let it be on the record that that's how you feel. And then they'll have to bring Trump in, which is why he's fucking throwing himself under the bus. Have to bring Trump in and go, do you invoke executive privilege over this particular thing? Which is, to Trump's mind, the same thing as pleading the fifth, and he'll go, yeah, sure, I guess. Why didn't you at the time? Well, because we didn't do anything wrong. And I told him this, and he told me this, and I told him this, and I told him this, and his lawyers will be sitting in the back going, shut the fuck up!
You're a Republican. The first senior White House advisor ever charged,
and somebody's bringing up the fact that, Trump's sexual abuse charge.
180 days.
what my defense team has beautifully done
Is lose? Is recommend you fucking fight this and pour money down their gullet and out their fucking assholes while you go to jail for 4 months for fucking nothing? Here's the thing. Look, if you believe this is a righteous fucking fight, and this is the advice I would have given to Lenny Bruce back in the day, do the time. If you're going to be vindicated later, you probably get out in fucking, with a 4-month sentence, you probably get out in 3 fucking days anyways. Do the time. It's not like you're going to be applying for a job 5 years from now and they're going to go, hey, weren't you that guy? You're all over the fucking news. Well-known defendants are in a totally different fucking category. You don't believe me? Look at all the fucking domestic violence against like athletes and shit like that. Those guys aren't worried about a conviction about that shit. And then they race right back out and start playing again. Nobody cares as long as they're winning. The same thing is true of this kind of politics. You think Donald Trump gives a fuck if anybody in his cabinet is a felon? He doesn't give a shit.
In cooperation with the court, has set up a roadmap for all future prosecutions. As I said, in the courtroom today, I am not only just the first person who's ever been charged with this, I will be the last person.
Right. That's hopefully, hey, asshole, that's how courts making an example of someone is supposed to fucking work. Everybody up until you knew this was serious. And you were like, fuck off, it's not serious. Nobody's going to do anything about this. There's no laws in this country. I work for Donald Trump. This doesn't apply to me. And then they were like, you're the first person to ever take it that far. You lost. And now everybody else who probably wouldn't have even needed this example to not break the fucking law will now know, oh shit, yeah, I guess you can't throw people in jail for that. No, I'm not doing that shit. Mr. President, I'm going to need you to invoke executive privilege or I'm going to have to talk to these assholes. According to my lawyers. Why? Because there's case law, you dumb motherfucker.
Because of the roadmap we have established.
The roadmap you've established. Yes. Don't drive down that road. Don't drive down that road. That's what your roadmap is. Dead end. No outlet. It leads right to the small dick playground, and no one wants to be there.
Hey, Peter.
So, yeah.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
If these commies behind us are going...
Well, in effect, they're not taking turns ringing the bell. They're doing it individually and stuff. And, I don't know. I don't see evidence that they're commies. These commies. Only commies hate people who work for and continue to dress like a guy with 27 credible sexual assault allegations against him, who's in jail right now for defaming one of his victims. Commies. Why don't you just call them out for being the deep state?
Going to keep on banging around so you can't have a straight thought or be able to answer?
I don't think it's having an impact. I got to be honest. Objection, Your Honor. Presents facts not stated. States facts not presented in evidence. No, I don't see it. Any evidence whatsoever that he can put together a straight thought. I've done videos on this motherfucker when he's been on Bannon's show and when he was on Fox and stuff like that. I've seen him putting thoughts together. It ain't a pretty sight.
A question
I'm fine.
with some thought?
These cameras actually pick it up. I'll take it.
That's a microphone. I understand. Some people get confused. It's a lot of techno mumbo jumbo. The thing that takes your picture, that would be the camera, and the thing covered in fuzz is a microphone. And also, it would, if it was a camera, it'd be a very odd shot. It just wouldn't read well. Be a little dark. I don't know how you fix that in post. I don't recommend putting a pop filter over your lens in general. With
some thought?
These cameras actually pick it up.
That's fucking dead on. That's right up there with Nikki Haley. These cameras. I want one of these cameras. This is the kind of camera, you want to use if you're doing business. This is as cameras go. Hold on, I'm gonna talk into this microphone. Hello? I'm sorry. Hello? These cameras.
Take it.
The House January 6th Committee is accused of deleting more than 100 files, encrypted files in connection to the January 6th.
Oh, right. This is all like Jan 6 deleted over 100 files or whatever. It's all online. And they deleted stuff they didn't use. Because the whole point is not to just like maintain, if you interview someone and their interview is not germane to what you're talking about, and it's not exculpatory, and it's not a fucking legal situation anyway, so they can call those people back in. If somebody if the deposition was taken and they didn't save it, they can bring the person back in, ask them the same fucking questions. Presumably they're going to give the same fucking answers, right? Yeah. So the point is, you don't just get to keep the information and the words of everybody you interviewed in one of these things in perpetuity, especially if they didn't have anything to do with it, or they were, or they were found not culpable, not guilty, not aligned with it. That's the problem that the Republicans have, because that's the fantasy of the exculpatory video evidence from Jan 6. Same shit. There's video showing me that it's going, I'm just kidding, that they cut out after I was saying I'm going to shoot Nancy Pelosi, and when I was helping build the gallows, and where I said I knew the bomber personally, then they left out the part where I was like, psych.
Concerned that any of these files might have some exculpatory evidence here.
I have no comment.
I'm guessing we're about to hear a comment.
This issue is simply about the constitutional separation of powers, executive privilege, and
which Donald Trump did not invoke on your behalf. He had every opportunity to, and he basically hung up on you. Let me put it to you this way, dumb fuck. Let's just say that during the transition, or in the early days of a White House, putting their staff together, and they bring in some people, like you have a mixed White House as far as staffs and people going on, like Reagan and Bush when they were together. Okay, when they were, and remember, Bush ran against him, and there was this idea that they put Bush with Reagan. He didn't particularly like him, and all this stuff. So you got these mixed groups, and Bush being former head of the CIA and all that kind of shit back in the 60s, I think it was 69, something like that. That you're having issues with his staff, and he brings in somebody, and that person walks right up to Ronald Reagan and says, the vice president put me in charge of this one thing. So I just ordered the assassination of somebody in I don't know, in the Sudan or something like that, or some warlord or whatever. Just kill him. I took care of it. And the president goes, you did fucking what? Like, oh yeah, we had this talk about, we need to be more proactive on stuff. So I just took that, and I called down to the Joint Chiefs and stuff, and since the vice president in this in this kind of murky area of the transition, I was kind of in charge of that. So I just make it Zimbabwe. Okay, there you go. That I just ordered a strike on this guy in Zimbabwe because we already had people in the theater, and and at that level we don't have to declare anything. So I just did that, and I just said it straight from you because I figured it's what you wanted, because I'd been talking to the vice president and we had that meeting about being proactive. And the president goes, "Are you out of your fucking mind? I didn't order that. That's illegal. Fuck you." And then they throw the guy out. He is brought before Congress because this becomes a scandal. The president hides it because he doesn't want this kind of shit in the opening. Like, wait a minute, the vice president brought this fucker in and he ordered a hit, and and he laid it off on me. And so he hides it. And so years later, they bring this dumb fuck out and they charge him for it. He goes, "I said that in confidence to the president of the United States. That's covered by executive privilege." The president is not saying this. The president at this point may be out of office going, "Yeah, fuck that guy. He did do that thing, and we just didn't have a way to address it or even tell if it was directed from his thing. I don't recall." Some rando way of distancing himself, but he didn't call it, right? And that guy says, "I want protection for what I said to the president, even though I committed a crime. I admitted to a crime. I took steps that were beyond my the duties of my office and all this stuff. But since I said it to the president, every word said between the president and me is executive privilege, even if he doesn't agree with what I'm fucking saying." And he calls me out as a criminal in that moment. It's just dumb. Yes, that's right. It was a great one. Greg in the chat room says he's asking for advisor privilege. There's no such fucking thing. That's why the president gives you that. That's why the president argues this point, why the president determines that the conversation was protected.
And the integrity of presidential decision-making. And this
Okay, first of all, that there was any integrity in Donald Trump's decision-making is hilarious.
is a principle that goes back to the days of George Washington.
Right. But again, in the days of George Washington, it was, quite frankly, the founding fathers who put in place this idea that the president answers to the people. He's not a king. He can actually be tried for crimes. We live in a democracy, not in a monarchy, so fuck you. And you're just not automatically protected by some sort of mafia whisper campaign just because you're in the Oval Office. There is a fucking standard.
So anyway, write your stories well. I appreciate.
They will. Yeah. Thanks for gluing them in. And also, what the fuck is this kind of weird? Isn't that De Niro's character in that movie when they showed him as a little kid? Didn't they do that at the death of a mafia guy?
Appreciate it. I've got a big fight ahead of me. I've got great
Yeah, you got a shitty one behind you.
folks behind me.
Well, the lady with the bell, yeah, and the whistle.
DefendPeter.com, please. DefendPeter.com.
See, I'm afraid to look that up. I'm not going to do it without safe search on. That's for goddamn sure.
Help me raise the money in order to fight this battle. Thank you.
Why can't you ask Trump? Yeah, Bronx Tale. That's right, Leah.
Yeah.
And an argument that you and others have used before is that, with executive privilege comes...
I gotta tell you, with both of those sounds going on at the .com, somebody goes to defendpeter.com, that just seems... I was about to say wrong, but you know what? I'm not here to yuck anybody's yum. You guys know that. That the sound of the cowbell and the whistle going at the same time, I don't know whether I feel like I'm back on the farm or the heavy part of a Paradise City is about to start.
When a president is performing their presidential duties, correct? But the defense that...
Trapped in the chair of the city gas chamber, while I'm here again, quite remember. See what I mean?
Trump has been using is that will keep...
Sorry.
The campaign. So is it that you were helping...
We'll save that one for arguing in the appeal. I'm not going to get into the minutia of that here. Anyway, thanks for
Why don't you go on War Room and explain
coming out. Well, at least we had some decent weather here. And
what the fuck? What? I'm sorry. You're mad because the sun isn't shining on the day you've been sentenced to 4 months in jail for... by the way, for the very reason that people are trying to get Hunter Biden thrown in jail, you think you don't realize that the Republicans are letting you go to jail on this and are hanging you out to fucking dry on the presumption that they were going to be able to get Hunter Biden on this. And then he decided he'd give the testimony. You're like, whoops.
unfortunately, we'll see you again. Bye.
Going to the court didn't work.
Good luck, Peter.
The dude in the fucking... That cap is fucking amazing. I just want him to be my trolley car operator. But he said, good luck, Peter. And I guess truth... Oh, he's the truth conductor. Well, okay. All right, sure. The truth conductor. Next stop, Little Dick Town. Or Little Dick Playground. Last stop for Little Dick Playground. Nobody's getting off at Little Dick Playground. Sorry, I walked right into that one, and I apologize. What an idiot. Okay. I mean me. All right, we're fine. We're fine. Next stop, Little Dick Playground. I want to see this guy walking. Yeah. You're about to get, like, that sounds like a threat that guy would make. You're about to get off at Little Dick Playground. What? I'm about to what? That came out wrong. That's what he said. Somebody call the fucking cops. Impersonating a conductor. Impersonating a conductor. He just left. The officer is, yeah, dressed like a guy from a pack of bubblegum. Good luck. You can't say Little Dick Playground and Good Luck Peter in the same conversation. You can't do that. Oh, who knew? Who knew we would have so much joy and pleasure, joy and fun?